felt like this needed a bit of a little, I felt like this video needed a little bit of like a disclaimer or something. Hi, this video that's playing behind this video is the original explanation that I had at the beginning of this video, basically defending myself and being like, no, I'm not against autotune, because I felt like I was pretty harsh on it in this video, and being like, I didn't autotune my vocals. I just didn't want to use it on this lead vocal to maintain the authenticity and the rawness of the cover, so I didn't just reproduce the song, you know. I'm just gonna sum it all up. All of this is fast forwarded with this.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. Not at all.
So, anytime you hear me say I didn't tune it or anything, just picture this. Just picture that. That's all. Enjoy. Yeah. Okay. Hi. This is probably a different type of video than you're used to seeing on this channel. If it's not, then how? For most of you, this should be your first time seeing a video like this on this channel. Basically what this is going to be is a session breakdown. So I did a cover of I Love You recently, and I added like a bunch of production and stuff on it, and I wanted to make a video sort of breaking down how I did it, because I like these types of videos. I'm a pretty novice producer. I started trying to learn, I mean, really everything, like recording, singing, writing, all that sort of stuff, 2.5 years ago now. I think it was like October, November 2021. So yeah, 2.5 years. So fairly new. So that's why it's probably rough-ish, but I mean, I'm happy with how it sounds, and I typically have fairly high standards for myself, because I know in my head of like, okay, well, this sounds bad, this doesn't sound bad, and so this is on the this doesn't sound bad to my ears side, so I'm happy with it. So because there's a decent amount going on in this session and everything, and I also just really like watching these types of videos, I figured I'd make one for this. Leave a comment or something if you want to see more of these. I think what I'm going to do, I think I mentioned it in the description of the I Love You video, at the end of each month, because I post a cover every Sunday, the last cover of each month will be like a produced, you know, instrumental, pretty much. Try to like remake the song. I already have the one for February I'm working on. I don't know what I'm doing for March. So if you have any ideas for songs that you'd like to see, bear in mind I get about a month-ish to work on it, and I am not the most skilled. So just if you have a suggestion, keep that in mind. But yeah, with that ramble out of the way, let's get into this transition. That's a Fantana does that. I can't do that. Anyways, so yeah, here's the session. I'm in Pro Tools. I don't know what version. The newest one, at least I know I'm not like purposely in an older version. So, but yeah, this is all the tracks and stuff and things. I guess, let's see, I'll start with the guitar. So, this is what it sounds like on its own. Sounds like guitar. It's a bit pluckier, because I think I was playing closer to the bridge than like the original. The original's a lot like smoother, I guess. I don't know, but I wasn't trying necessarily to do like a one-to-one like recreation. I definitely wanted to remake it as best I could, but I kind of like listened to it and was like, okay, and then off of memory of like in terms of like what happens when tried to remake it. I wasn't like, okay, what happens here? And then, okay, like, so the only thing that I really tried to like recreate was the little section in like the first or the second verse rather, with like the airplane sounds and everything. So I recorded with this mic, which is a Audio-Technica AT2020, and if you're curious, into an Audient ID14. I just mic'd it pretty standardly, like around like the 12th fret-ish. I think maybe with like a slight angle pointing towards the sound hole a little bit. I can't really remember because it was a little while ago. And then I had a SM57 just laying on my desk, pointing at like kind of this part of the guitar for like a little bit of warmth, a little low end. I don't think I mixed in too much of it, and then I doubled it, obviously, but it's there. But yeah, so there's that. So then effects wise on it, I just have a compressor, some EQ, and then a very little bit of reverb. EQ wise, low end roll off around 50 hertz. I feel like that's aggressive enough to go past a roll off and just kind of, that's pretty much just a cut. I'm dipping around there a little bit. I believe, what is this one for? It's just a little boominess, I guess. Got a little dynamic EQ on that, sort of tame that. Some dips around here. I think this was both for the piano later in the song and then a little bit of the vocal. It's just a little, a little crowded right there. A little bit of mid-range dipping, and then a little bit of high end. When it comes to EQing, I don't really know what I'm doing. Like, obviously, there's a general, like, what these frequencies sound like, and I've gotten pretty good at being able to tell when, things are out of whack. But I feel like, especially when I watch videos like this and I see, like, an EQ like this or whatever, where there's a lot of individual things, or even just something in general, I'm always kind of like, that's so minute. Like, these are what, like, just around -2 to, like, just under 3 dB each. Like, how do you know? So if you're like EQing something like this and you're inexperienced and you're like, I don't know if it's too much or too little, just do it until it sounds normal to you. That's one thing. I forget where I heard it, but I was watching a video breaking down a session, and they were like, don't worry about what the EQ like curves look like, because they'll be out of whack sometimes. Just like go off of what sounds correct to your ears, I guess. So if you see something like this and you're like, it's so minute, how did, like, what did you hear that specifically? Like, this is just kind of like little adjustments over time that I just was like, oh, that sounds all right. And then compression wise, there's not too much going on here. I think if anything, it's just a volume boost and then compressor doing what compressor does and making things sound balanced. Even on these like heaviest parts, I don't think it's doing a whole lot of anything. So that one's just kind of there, I think mainly for like a volume boost. And then again, the reverb is little plate, which is on so many things throughout this. There was like a stretch between November and December where I just bought so many plugins because they were all so cheap. And this was one I might have even gotten for free, I can't remember. But yeah, this is a dope little reverb. But not a whole lot going on here. Very low mix, no low cut, and then just 2 on the decay. So from there, I guess let's sort of build this out as if we were recording it. We got the lead vocals. So let's make the waveforms big so you can see them. So when it comes to recording vocals for something like this, obviously it's like, it looks like, it's chopped, all the sounds is removed and everything like that. And there's, volume automation at certain parts, and all this sort of, there's a lot going on. It gets to a point where I question, is this even a cover anymore, or am I just trying to reproduce the song? And so what I do, anytime I have something like this where I can't, or I am not playing it and singing it at the same time, like Love is Pain, I did a cover of that as an example as well. I probably could play the piano and sing that, but because I try to like record it as fast as possible, it's just impractical, because I also don't do any, like, on the lead vocal at least, I don't, no pitch correction, no I mean, maybe if something is slightly off, I can just shift it to the side a little bit to like have it be a little better in time when I chop it up like this, which I think I did at some points. But aside from the little things like that, it's a one-shot vocal the entire way through, which makes recording these take a while, because I also am a perfectionist and I like it to sound good to my ears at the very least. So I try to not have too many mistakes if I can avoid it. Inevitably they're always in there. I'm not like pitch perfect or anything like that. But I try to minimize as many as I can. So even though it is like chopped up like this, I don't do any extra takes or anything like that. It's all just freaking one shot. However, for this song, a little bit of cheating I did do just because I was running low on time in terms of trying to get this out. So for the pre-chorus, this little build-up, you know, that bit, the one I originally had right here, the first one, around like here, I went really sharp and I really didn't like the sound of it, but the second time around, I nailed it. So I just dragged the second one to the first one, and then I think for the ooh, I also did one of these on the end I brought over here just because it was just easiest. So it's still all the original one take, it's just kind of shifted around a bit. And then so I have a lot going on over here, I realize, plugin wise, but for the most part, so we have the lead, which is just, again, this mic, the 2020, and then I have a wide, which is just the same take, just dropped down on a new track. I believe the same EQ, something a little different. That's probably just because I forgot to add it to this one. And then a Haas delay to have it be doubled. Right, so it's like there's two of me, like on either side of your head, and then that's fairly low. And then with the lead, it just adds a bit more oomph, I guess. So without and then with, let's see. It's not true. And then with it, it's not true. Yeah, sometimes, I don't know if it's just my ears, but it can sound a little left heavy. My right ear's kind of clogged right now too, so maybe it's just that, but when you mix it right, it sounds pretty good. EQ wise on these, these are like the same thing, so I'll just use this one. Lot of low mid dipping, again, the roll off, a little bit of mid dip, and then a lot going on up here. I find when I'm recording my voice, there's like a frequency akin to like a cello, or a really low string instrument, the sound like the bow makes on the string, like that, like, you know, that really high end, that can make editing vocals a little difficult sometimes, and I'm trying to learn how to do it as I go, so that's why there's so much going on up here. Let's see, let's just listen to this. I'm also gonna turn this down just a touch. Oh, also huge volume boost down here, because I recorded very low gain, because I have had way too many times where it just sounds overdriven accidentally, because the gain is just slightly too high. But so I'm just gonna turn this down a little bit, so we'll go with and without all of this jumbled mess up here. So we'll do without first. It's not true. So to my ears, that sounds very like harsh. Tell me I've been right, and then you just throw all these things in. It's a mix of just little dips and notches and such. It's not true. Kind of flattens it out a bit, you know. And then let's just knock this back up to what it was. I'm just hitting Control Z a bunch. I hope I'm not changing too much. It was at -1, I think. So let's just there we go. Okay. And then so those are both going into this, which is like the vocal bus. So we have very basic combo of compressors, the 2A and the 1176. Settings wise, I believe this is ratio, but you know, 8, and then decent amount going in because it was such a low signal. It's decently fast attack and the fastest release, just to get like those peaks. 2A to just sort of level everything out. So I'm gonna, yeah, that should be fine. It's not true. So there's not a lot of compression throughout the verses. Tell me I've been lied to. Little bits like right there at the beginning it hits, but it's mainly what the hell did I, like on the more aggressive parts, especially like, you know, throughout the chorus and stuff. But not too much, I almost said too much depression, not too much compression. I love you. At most, it maybe dips to around -3. But yeah, nothing too crazy on that. And then, so I have this crazy EQ going on here, and then I'm using Pultec EQ P1A and MEQ5. So without these, sounds very dry and thin from what I remember. Let's just go like here. Tell me I've been lied to. And then with. Tell me I've been lied to. Not too big of a difference now I listen to it now, but yeah, just a little, just under 4 and just above 4 on the boost and then attenuation at 100 hertz, 8 on the bandwidth. I'm reading this out like you can't see it. But yeah, not a whole lot going on. A little boost around 12K, and then mid-range wise, you know, sort of a little bit in pretty much just around 700 hertz. So those aren't doing too much, but those definitely make a difference. That shows you how much I know what I'm doing. And then more little plate, around 4 on the decay, which I believe throughout changes, right? So there should be, yeah. So the decay and the mix go up kind of throughout, just to give like these little swells. Like, let's see, like one of these. And then it drops back down. And then I believe that's everything on that. Let's see, I'm curious what this sounds like without all of these. Is it even audible? It's so quiet. Okay, wait, let me just throw on a compression. It's not true. It's not true. And then let's see what else is here. I'm just gonna go kind of like down to the side here for now. The this thing, just, you know. Baby, won't you? I try to minimize, or at least in this one, I tried to minimize all the little things I could get wrong because this took me so long to record. So this I did in post. In the same way I'd do like a harmony or something, though I don't think it's too cheaty. Just because I really wanted to get this done. But I think that's really it. Just kind of like in these individual clips, kind of, you know, boosting or lowering the volume a little bit to even it out. But for the most part, that's it. Let's just do, let's see, harmonies real quick. Let's do these oohs. So the oohs. These are interesting. These were kind of tough for me to get. As you can see, so the lead vocal, I don't touch pitch wise, right? This, oh my god, there's so much. So it's so pitchy, and I wanted it to be consistent. So I'll let's see, what is the button, elastic. Okay, here we go. Like on this, this one's fine, but this one's down -15, -56. 35, like just all over the place, you know, numbers, pitch changing up and down, because I just wanted the oohs to sound good, and especially when there's more like instrumentation and everything going on, when something's like sharp or flat, it's so audible. There is a point where in the lead vocal I'm a little flat, and then the reverb swell happens, and the piano's in the background, and the piano starts to sound detuned because it's like clashing a little bit, which I'm not crazy about, but I didn't want to tweak anything, so I just left it. But yeah, so I just have, let's see, I'm gonna turn off the reverb just so it's a little easier to hear. So let's do this. Boom, boom, boom. So the first one's, it's just like a double, I believe. Another thing you can hear there is I used this tool, the TCE, and I like stretched out this to be a little longer on these ones. But yeah, that's just like a double, and then we have the high. Let's just do that by itself. There's a point in there where it kind of sounds like pigeons, because there was so much changing. And then a little pretty quiet, mainly for that sort of high texture, like the, you know, the high end and stuff, and then the same thing but higher. Not pitched up to be higher, but just sang higher, as much as it sounds like it is just pitched up, and then all those together with no reverb. And then with reverb. Oop, that's not the right button. That is though. Very cool, very nice. Yeah, so those are just copy pasted throughout anytime there's an ooh. I didn't want to try to redo them every single time. You can see how much pitch correction I had to do on just these. I was not going to try to do the same take over and over to just, you know, have different authentic oohs. But so there's all of those, and then I suppose might as well just hit the eyes real quick. These were so hard to balance for me. It's just, maybe it's the vowel sound, I don't know what, but it was very interesting. I'm gonna turn off all these reverbs again. I guess let's hit this, just like the double real quick, right? Oh, we'll pick the other one because that one has some automation. Very quiet, I don't even know if you could hear it. And then we have the high version. Why is this so quiet? Oh, I turned off the compressor. Dummy. That's another thing throughout this. For most compressors are just doing a volume boost in the vocals. So just the double. Way louder. There we go. And then the high. That one's actually not touched, it looks like. Is it? No, it's not. Cool. I nailed it. This one I had to redo though. It was originally a different type of like tone to my voice that I didn't really like, and then I liked the sort of breathier one on here because I added more of the texture I was looking for. And then we have a low, which is real low. Just me go. And then we have an which I believe is just the same one from before. Just for a little bit of that sort of ringy frequency texture, and then all of these together with the reverb and everything, we get solid. Yeah, that low end came in clutch because these sounded so thin and so like I couldn't figure out what to do, but I figured it out in the end, and it was just doing that and adding a little bit of it, and it worked out. I guess on the topic of these sort of harmonies, let's hit these chorus harmonies real quick. What do we have? I think this is just a double, correct? Baby, won't you take with some reverb, yeah. A little boost. Oh, let me back real quick. I don't think I did too much to these. Compression wise, this is just a volume boost. Very basic, cutting out most of the low end because there's like just like some room tone and everything in there, and then a little bit of boost in the high end. Pitch shifter, I had to pitch the whole of the oohs slightly down by 0.07 cents, but it made the world of a difference because it was just so slightly sharp. And then little plate. For the eyes as well, volume boost, dipping this is probably because of the low one, dipping some mid-range, and then kind of some funky stuff going on in the high. This is for sibilance, I think. Or not sibilant, but just like that kind of harshy tone, because there's so much going on in the high end with those ones. And then a little bit of a high shelf just to make the breathiness of the high eye stick out a little bit. Didn't want to miss that. Okay, and then so now back up to these, the chorus harmonies. This is, so we have a double. Baby, won't you take it back? Which kind of sounds like you're talking into a cup because of this little boost right here. And then a high harmony, which I believe is, yeah. I don't think I tweaked these ones pitch-wise. I know this is a volume cut a little bit. Whoa, did I just change something? It looked like I changed something. I don't think I changed anything though. Yeah, this is just little volume cuts here and there. I don't think I pitch shifted any of these. No, a little bit on the end there. Yeah, so we have the a little high and a low, Baby, won't you take it back? And then I believe once I get to the chorus, I switch to a different, just like an octave above. It's a harmony is what they call it. So it just goes. You know, with. But I don't want to. Come on, decent sampler, work with me. But I don't want to. And then the harmony. Alright, so nothing too crazy, pretty basic, but it does that. So let's just, let's do this. Let's do all of these together like that. And let's just do like this chorus. I guess from here, because I don't want to play too long. But I don't want to. Some nice stuff right there, and then we'll hit one of the eyes real quick. Oh, might need to unmute them. Bear with me. There we go. He's in the back. Solid. Just because it's up here and I'm eager to get to it, and there's really no time like the present. And also it's the next thing to hit. The plain stuff. So, I did not plan on doing this originally. I was listening back to the song to see if there's anything else I could do, and I realized, oh, in the second verse, it doesn't start just back into guitar. It's like ambience. So, in the original, there is this sort of, I mean, you probably know the song, but it sounds like it was intentionally recorded. And what I mean by that is, like, it sounds like Phineas or Billy had like an actual little recorder, because it sounds a lot more stereo and crisp than just like my voice memo. And it's basically just like the safety announcements or whatever, and then the takeoff. And I was like, oh my god, I took a flight recently. And it was my first flight, so I recorded like the takeoff, and I was like, do I have like this little section? Could I put that in? And I did. And I was like, oh, this will be so sick. So this is my favorite little bit, honestly. What we have is 4 tracks, but it's just 2 different things. So we have the announcements with a little bit of automation, just mono, so down the middle.
There are 8 exits on this plane, 4 doors, 2 on each side, and 4 window exits over the wings.
Some EQ.
The forward doors have detachable slides that can be used for flotation. Life rafts are located.
And then it fades out. Very quiet. But the trick here, just like the vocal double, is the little Haas reverb, right? So it adds a decent bit of stereo. I'm just going to turn it on midway through, and you'll hear the difference.
There are 8 exits on this plane, 4 doors, 2 on each side.
Just a little more.
4 window exits over the wings.
And that was like, oh, perfect. And then I have the takeoff. And that, so I'll just play these like fading into each other like it does in the song. We'll go from here actually.
Slides that can be used for flotation. Life rafts are located in the compartments at the front and
center. Alright, and then so much low end roll off. It doesn't look like there's too much here, and I think also a volume boost. No, okay, no volume boost, but a lot of low end roll off, because without it, it's so rumbly. Because it's a plane taking off, and then the same thing with the stereo. So I'll just play like this little section with all of the things engaged. So cool. I'm really proud of that one. That's probably my favorite part of this. And then to go with that, we have the bings, as I called them, which, so I want to say it might have been in a Jimmy Fallon interview where they were talking about how in Bad Guy the freaking the crosswalk from Australia sample is the hi-hat thing or whatever. And I want to say something was mentioned about sampling an airplane like seatbelt on sign sound or something. So I don't know if in the original that's what the little do 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 sound is, but I didn't sample that. I don't think I heard that, or let alone was I prepared for it if it came on. So what I used was Spitfire Labs Whirly Soft, Super Soft, sorry, DI, which on its own, I think I can just do this. I threw a huge cut onto it. It almost looks like a little fish fin. Let's see. So without this, let's see, is there anything else on this? No, it's pretty much, that's the biggest cut. So without that, it's very loud. I split it because the it was a little inconsistent with the velocities, so I split it between like the high ones and the low ones, so there's a little bit of like I could balance it easier, because even just messing with the velocities didn't work too well. But I didn't use the like the MIDI track. I used these. I like bounced them, so just a little more mid-range EQ on these. But so like here's like the top, right? Let's see for like here. But then the bottom, and here's, okay, I'm gonna disengage it for now, but we'll more Haas. So I like split them.
There are 8 exits on this plane. 4 doors, 2 on...
But then what really did it, because that was kind of getting crowded, and I wanted a little more, I feel like in the original, I can't remember, but it feels like there's a bit more stereo-ness to it. So I threw on the Haas on the bottom ones, and that made the world of a difference. If you're not watching with headphones, or like good, or just studio monitors, I guess, you might not be able to hear that. But like,
There are 8 exits on this plane. 4 doors, 2 on each side.
that sounds so good to me. And I this section of the song is my favorite in my recreation, and now since recreating it, listening to it, just kind of like acknowledging it, because I never really like, I guess, processed it before, but it's so good. So let's just do this. Let's play everything together. Just this little section coming out of the first chorus, I guess.
There are 8 exits on this plane. 4 doors, 2 on each side, and 4 window exits over the wings.
On another red eye, I wish we never learned to fly.
Guitar starts to come back in. Oh, it sounds so good. I love it. And then the piano. So the piano was a pain. I'm not gonna lie. To mix, because the piano that I use, that I love, it's one of my, it's if not my favorite piano that I have. It's the one I use here, and it's one of my favorites. It's the in Sforzando, I believe. You can maybe get it for other stuff like Contact or something, but it's the claustrophobic piano. It's so good. It's a very soft piano. Like, sounds fairly soft. There's such a big delay trying to play with that right now. Hello, iLock. Please go away. But yeah, so this is the piano I used, but it's a very low mid-range heavy, so cutting and like trying to be surgical with it, because there's still a lot of tone in there, but like there's so much, like without this EQ, let me see what this sounds like on its own. I believe, is there volume? It was a very slight volume adjustment, but like on its own, fairly muddy. That cleans it up a bit, and then that just kind of flattens it out a little more. But that was such a pain. I tried so many different things with this. I tried like different reverb, and like at one point I had this duplicated in like 2 tracks, and one was like the low frequencies in the middle and the high stuff on the outside. And I think in the end I wanted to do that same sort of thing, but have reverb on the outside to try to create a little more. But I got it to where it sounded decent, and I just left it because I was like, I'm not tweaking this anymore. I'm just gonna mess this up. So yeah, that was a pain. But that's playing this little thing. and then the build up. Yeah, there's not a ton of piano. It's mainly just that bit, and then at the end I threw some in. I can't remember if there is in the original or not. I believe there is, but I don't know if I did the same thing. And then when that piano comes in, let me just kind of do this so these tracks are a little bigger in general. We have a sub bass that comes in. Very subtle until it gets to the build up, really. But it's there, you know, got some good texture. On that, I don't know what I have going on too much. So it's just synth cell, which is like a basic thing that came with Pro Tools Artist, at least. I don't know if it's in the original, like just, you know, intro, but just a sub. These are the settings. I don't really know if there's anything to these. I haven't really looked these over, but I made this a little while ago, off of something. Maybe it was a preset, I can't remember, but it's a sub bass. EQ wise, dipping a little bit of this because I think it was fighting with the cello that comes in the, or like the low, it's just called basses in the BBC orchestra thing. So like the low strings, and then compression, I don't know if it's doing a whole lot. A little bit. To be honest, I don't really know. Like, it's doing something. Like, the needle's moving, it's gotta be working, right? That's my philosophy with compression. So I guess let's just get into this build up here. So we have, oh, this little thing, which I liked. I felt this was very Phineas. I feel like in a lot of his stuff, and in some of Billie's as well, like the low pass kicks, these have a lot of reverb on them, but right, if you think like Hurt Locker, which I think, I always thought it was just kind of like in that intro bit, it goes do 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 do, like there's that little like percussion before like the song starts. And I think this is just irrelevant, but I think, and I found it cool when I realized that like it's the same like drums that come in later in the song, just like with a heavy like low pass filter. I feel like there's other stuff where he uses the low pass kick, and then we have this little riser, which is actually without the plugins, is just this. Okay, well, without this, it's like a drum machine snare. There's a plugin called DR84. It's like a free drum machine. It doesn't work with Pro Tools, at least the one I have. Maybe they've updated it since, so I had to like go into Cubase because it works in there, and that's what I used to use, and like bounce each sample individually so I could have them. But that's what that is, but with a huge low pass on it, some mod delay, because this is before I realized what Haas does, and then some reverb. And then this one is that but reversed, so that with the kicks does this little thing. Almost sounds like somebody falling down the stairs and landing on a balloon. Then we have these things. So this Ocean Rise right here is just a like white noise synth, pretty much. But it sounds kind of like ocean waves, especially over here. Like this little bit of automation kind of sounds like waves crashing without these things. And then as it comes back, I don't know what that was, but yeah, it sounds like an ocean. That's helping rise, and then we have, what is this? What's on that, by the way? Oh, wow, okay, so huge low-end freaking cut, basically down to the mid-range, and then a big boost, and then little plate. And then, let's see, so we have, what else is there? This little violin, slightly detuned. Another thing, I don't think my guitar was perfectly in tune, and this was an issue I had with the original recording as well. So all of the MIDI, any of the instruments, the piano, this, like the strings, are all slightly detuned to fit with the song, because rather than just make sure I was in tune, I figured, well, I just wasn't thinking that far ahead. So we have this. Oh, that's way too deep in. Just rising, and then this record cutter synth. Right, pretty simple. and then the sub bass and the piano with that. But then also what I reused the takeoff sound as a riser. So I felt like that was pretty cool. So all of those together with this. And then this hits again as well, because a little second rise. Just to have a little more motion throughout. And then, okay, so now at this point we're getting into the second chorus, which goes crazy. This second chorus, part of me produced this instrumental just to go buck wild on the second chorus with the whole string section and everything. It's a little overboard, but I like it. And then on this, the rising synth thing, little plate, some compression. I don't know if this was doing anything. Just a little bit, because there's some frequencies that get out of whack and it makes the volume go high, and that goes no down here. So, and then this is just like some dynamic EQ for the mid-range. That's like a ringing a lot, because these things, boy, do they love to ring. And then let's see. So this whole thing. So these are just kind of doing something basic. The things that are in the riser. There's nothing crazy going on here. This is actually what the string melody originally was, I think, and I tweaked it a little bit. Nothing too crazy. But then in come the strings. So let's do just the strings, actually. And then we have this little thing called C Monster, which I'll get to. But, okay. So, on the strings, basic compression, that is actually doing a little bit of compression. So much EQ. A lot of little dynamic things. A little bit of Haas delay and little plate. For most of the strings, except for one, I believe. No, I actually ended up using it for all of them. This BBC Symphony Orchestra, I believe this is free. It was when I got it. Spitfire makes some good free stuff, so cop this if you haven't already. It's a full orchestra pit at your disposal. The only thing I don't really like about this, and kind of, I mean, just budget, I guess, strings, things in general, is like when you switch from the notes or the chords or whatever, there's like this swell that just kind of like does this to you. It's kind of tricky when you're just editing the MIDI to like have this one start over here and this one end over here so it blends nicely, but you know, it's a free orchestra pit, so can I really complain? So on each of these, they all have their own little EQs going on. This one goes crazy. That one's pretty funky looking, if I'm being honest. And then this one, I mean, it's so much like, so okay. This was a pain mixing. Okay, as much as I loved this second chorus, it was a pain to try to balance, and I think in the end, I've gone back and listened to it since making it and everything. It sounds, the whole song really sounds heavy. I don't know why, but it's like it's I don't know. I can't tell if it's like mud or what, but it sounds heavy, which I kind of like, to be honest. I'd rather it sound like full than like thin, especially given the kind of song. It's like a pretty heavy song. Yeah, this was such a pain because there's so many like little things. I don't know if my ears are just sensitive or if it's the samples, but so many little things stick out to me that it's like that it justified all these little, like, look at all these little dynamic EQs that are going off that barely fire. If I can toot my own horn, and I will, it's pretty. So I have, you know, just like a little melody line here, some chords here, some low end stuff. The one thing that I really like about this is right here. It mimics the like the ooze. Okay, wait, hold on. Let me do this. Wait, hold on. There we go. Oh, wait, hold on. God, that's the wrong one. Right, but you see what I mean though, how it goes. There was a thing that I tried, because there was originally a bit at the end here where I wanted like a violin sound, because there was like a little Peter Griffin is on here somewhere, but I wanted like a sliding violin going like, you know, like you would, I feel like normally how you would play that would be like you know, like you would just kind of do that, one of those, and it would slide down. But with since it's just MIDI, it was pretty like ding ding. So what I tried was I used a pitch shifter and like, you know, did some automation to sound like that, and it worked, but I ended up scrapping it just because I didn't really like it too much. It wasn't as real as I wanted it to be. So but yeah, I don't really know how much more to go over with this. I mean, it's just like strings. In terms of like a question I might have at a point like this is like, well, how did you know what to play, or how did you come up with this, right? Like if you're new to like making music and stuff and you like the strings and all that, I don't know any of this. I don't know what notes are playing. I just kind of, I think this is mainly like root notes, you know, like the lowest notes of the chord and everything, and it's pretty basic, and then this is just kind of improv'd until I worked it out. Usually with string sections I can hear something in my head, so it's just a matter of like pulling it out of here and then throwing it into like Pro Tools, which I'm getting better at, but it's pretty difficult still. And then this, a lot of the times I'll just record something and I'll just shift the MIDI around until it sounds right. So this is pretty simple, a little bit of automation to sort of make things come in and out. This little bit of cello automation was really annoying because what I wanted, there's a little bit right here where everything comes in, and without that it felt really empty for a second, and then it came back and everything kind of fit. And I was like, why does it feel empty? And it was because there was like nothing there. Who would have guessed that? So I boosted the cello volume a little bit to kind of come in. And then we have this little guy down here, the Sea Monster. So again, something I've picked up on in some like Phineas songs. I'm trying to think how it ends. There's a Tape Notes, I believe, interview where he's talking about how he like produced it, and one of the things he talks about in the mix of that song is like very low. There's like this distorted synth. There's a few synths going on, but there's this one, and then sometimes I'll hear, I can't think of any song off the top of my head, but I know I've heard it in at least one, of like a low end, or like a synth sort of like swell, like this, I guess. I'll just play it. Let me do that. Right, it almost sounds like brass, but it's this. These are the settings if you'd like to tweak that. Very interesting EQ here. Yeah, I don't know what this is doing, but it's doing something. High end roll off, a little bit of dip right there, and then whatever this boost is. What even is this, like isolated? Just a little bit of top end texture, I guess. Little plate, and then a mod delay just to sort of widen it a bit. But yeah, so then that at like the end of this string section. Just kind of sneaks up on you. And then like a place where I deviated from the original, right? If I were to try to copy it in the beginning of the second verse, this is definitely where I strayed away. Partially out of time constraint, in the sense that I just didn't really realize it was a thing until like a few days before this came out. And then I also, well, that was mainly the thing, but like in this little bridge, essentially, the smile that she gave me even when he felt like dying bit, it does continue some of the energy from the second chorus and then cut as it goes to the end, but I just cut it early. But yeah, anything else over here? Not that I can think of. Oh, this kick, if you're curious, sample wise, this dude Jake Reed, he's dope. I bought I think it's volume 1 of the Dead drums. So this kick on its own just sounds like this, right? Good sounding kick. I'm not crazy about the high end in it, so I'll usually try to EQ that out, but yeah, it makes a good heartbeat sound. Well, Some people call that a low-pass kick, but apparently I call it a heartbeat sound. But yeah, and then, so towards the end here, is there anything too special? I don't think. There's the ooze. Some more piano comes in. What's soloed? Do that. Oh, hello, metronome. Can you leave, maybe?
Fall apart as it gets dark. I'm in your arms in Central Park. There's nothing you can do or say. I can't escape the way I love you.
Not a lot going on. Pretty cool though. Some strings come in. I don't really know what's playing here. It just kind of some nice texture. Got the ooze. These are all individual. Yeah. Yeah, so these were all, you know, at the end of the song, I sang these individually and tweaked them, and then it was one of these that I took and used on the lead section for the, you know, whenever it pops up here. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. There's a lot going on, but at the same time, there's not a ton going on. This was, I think, the first time maybe since I upgraded to Artist for Pro Tools that I actually, like, ran out of tracks. Some of these I had to, like, condense because there was so much going on that I had to, like, just bounce something and hope I didn't need to tweak it after. But yeah, this was fun. It's great production practice, not only just because you're, at least mixing practice is what I'm thinking mainly, but, like, not only because there's a lot going on, but also just, you know, reproducing songs. If you are new to producing and you want to get better at it, then that's definitely the way to go. You can start with something simple, because, I mean, at least in those stretches where you don't have anything, like, you're working on, like, for me, for example, I don't have any songs I'm, like, working on, at least producing, so, like, to still get practice and not feel like I'm just wasting time, like, I'll, you know, this is sort of my excuse to now that I'm uploading these, but, like, it's a good practice, because one, you get to, you know the song, so that takes the creative, like, effort out of it, in the sense that, like, you don't have to come up with something new unless you think of something new, and that's, like, your spin on it that you want to, you know, change. But you don't have to think, okay, well, for the second chorus, what do I want to do harmony wise or something. You can just, like, listen to the song and redo it. So it's sort of like, you know, it's like a coloring book or something, or like a stencil that you can sort of trace over. Is that the right word? Stencil? I don't know, but it's the groundwork is there. You just kind of remake it, right? Like, you don't have the same guitars, maybe, or the same sounds, but you can still, like, do it. Yeah, but also, you know, I'm still very new to this, in terms of, like, I mean, I've been, it's like 2.5 years in, which it's not a short amount of time, but it's definitely not a long amount of time. So any mistakes in here that are probably plentiful that you see, go easy on me. I'm learning. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm probably gonna make more videos like this, regardless of if they do well, just because I like watching them. I've been recording for about an hour, so hopefully I can condense this down to still be, like, somewhat in depth, but who knows, maybe it'll just be long because it's long. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed. This has been me rambling a lot, for sure. I hope my goal with these in the future, and starting with this one, one more thing. If you're curious, on the master bus, I guess it's just the master track, very little bit of EQ, slight bit of compression, and then L2 just for, like, some volume. That's it. Yeah, I got this for like $30, so that's why I have this. I did not spend $350 or whatever the frick it is on a limiting plugin with this little experience. I'm not that bad with money. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. New covers every Sunday. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Ryan the Gardner. I post daily for the most part on Instagram, just random stuff, but that's my main thing I'm most active on. If you have any recommendations for covers you want to see, in the comments. Any other types of videos you want to see, if you want to see me, like, record a cover, like, behind the scenes or something, then comments. But yeah, thank you for watching, if you made it this far. If you want to subscribe, go for it. Doesn't do a whole lot. It makes the number go up, which is kind of cool. If you want to do that, but it mainly just makes it easier to figure out when I upload next. If you want to do that, if not, then just, I don't know, search for me or something. Find me however you found me this video. But yeah, have a good day, night, evening, afternoon, dusk, dawn, whatever it is, wherever you are. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. Why'd I have to make it weird? Bye.